Heron reports on the experience from a few El Pasoans and what's being done to address the issue.
To this day, and it's been at least 2 weeks since he tested positive. He has not received a call to inquest about or ask about who he was in contact with when he was contagious.
That was part of the conversation between Commissioner David Stout and Deputy Chief George Rodriguez. Commissioner Stout says a staffer came down with the virus but had not heard from the city's contact tracers yet.
I have received numerous reports from folks that they were tested and came up positive close to 2 weeks ago, and still have not. They've been contacted by somebody, but no questions have been asked about who they've been in contact with. There's no contact tracing.
It was the same situation for two other El Pasoans, Jose Martinez and his girlfriend Sofia Avila, who said they came down with the virus around Father's Day.
Probably like 2.5 weeks, a little over 14 days. They question if I have been around, who I've been around, and if I had been quarantined myself the way I was supposed to.
Like 2.5 weeks, it was almost like 14 days when they were going to release us.
Laura Cruz Acosta with the city says they are upping their efforts to contact people.
Typically, we will try to get in touch with you within about 24 hours after you've tested positive. We had initially started with about 7 contact tracers early on in the process. We are now close to 300.
But contact tracers are running into problems.
Folks are not answering their phones, or they don't recognize the number, and so they let it go to voicemail and then don't return our phone calls.
Cruz Acosta says they'll be knocking on doors next.
What we have now started to do is that we'll issue quarantine health orders, and we'll actually go to the individual's house and issue the health orders.
Will Heron, ABC 7.